Hi everyone, I wanted to use this short video to give you a short introduction to the world of system dynamics. And what I'm going to do first is define what I mean by the word system, and then we'll go into some principles of system dynamics. So system, of course, is used in a lot of different environments, and it's basically an interconnected series of pieces that work together to achieve some objective. And what we're going to do in this series is talk about the business system. And we all know the elements of business affect each other. Customer satisfaction affects market share, affects a positive brand, that affects revenue and growth, and that will impact profits, and profits will allow us to invest in R&D to build more products that impact customer satisfaction even more. We know a good work environment increases employee satisfaction, which increases tenure, increases employees' skill set, so they can be more innovative. Reduce cycle time of installations, which helps our revenue, and that helps our profit. It helps us invest in employees. So we know that all the different aspects of business, kind of the balanced scorecard of business, is a bunch of factors that impact each other, and that's a system. Now, there's some things that you might consider outside the system, at least that outside that you can control, like the general economy. You may not be able to control that, but it certainly has an impact on your business and system. And sometimes competitors you can consider outside the system. However, if you're a big enough company in terms of market share, what you do impacts the competitors. They may make certain choices to copy you, and certainly what they do impacts you. So competitors could be seen as part of this interlocking series of pieces. And system dynamics is really the study of the dynamics of these systems and all their interlocking pieces. It was invented in the 1950s at MIT, and basically taking engineering principles of control systems and feedback loops and that sort of thing, and applying them to management first, which will be the topic that we'll talk about. But it's also been applied very successfully to city planning. So, how to increase the welfare and health of a city, as well as earth planning, how population and food availability and climate change and natural resource availability, how they all impact each other kind of over time. And system dynamics is a fairly sophisticated way of thinking about the interconnection of these pieces, especially as they evolve over time and they get themselves into feedback loops. Because obviously if you have everything impact each other, you're going to have these feedback loops, which are one of the more interesting aspects of system dynamics. And many of these different business irony stories, which we'll study in system dynamics. Death spirals, virtuous positive circles, things getting worse before they get better, things have to get better before, or sometimes you sow the seeds of failure by doing something in the short term that erodes your success in the long term. And there's a variety of different flavors of this that we'll study. And then the advanced versions are really taking this feedback, putting it into a computer. So you develop basically a management flight simulator, so you can try out different decision theories or strategies and see their impact on the overall system, whether it be customer sat or R&D or innovation or growth or those sorts of things. It's hard to keep track in your head how they all relate, but you can actually build them into a simulation model and try out different theories, and I'll get into that as we move on. And essentially, where system dynamics fits in our company is it ties to our growth trait of clear thinking. So allowing you to see the world clearer in all its complexity and solve problems, be a better problem solver in that environment. So, here's a quick hierarchy of behavior. And, we see the world as events, of course. This hospital has a bug in a new release. And as humans, we're very good at pattern recognition. So if this hospital has a bug in that new release, and that one does too, and this clinic has a bug, and, we're going to say, hey, there's a pattern here. This release isn't so good. So we're good at getting below the event level to solve problems at the pattern level. What I'm going to talk about is getting below the patterns to the underlying system that caused that pattern, that caused the event. So for instance, we may have a system where we incent development teams to release earlier than they should, which causes buggy releases to get out in the field. And we may do that to recognize revenue early. because the sooner you get a product out, the sooner you can get revenue for it. However, ironically, if you release a product earlier than it should, you may get a short-term bump in revenue, but you may have trouble soon thereafter with customers refusing to pay you, your brand getting worse in the marketplace, you losing market share because people hear that your product doesn't work, and ironically, your revenue may go down in the long run because of your actions to make revenue go up in the short run. So understanding the system that underlines these patterns, that underlies the events that we see at the kind of tip of the iceberg, is what system dynamics is all about. And if you can understand that and solve problems at that level, the leverage that you have as a leader in terms of the positive impact you can have on your business and your customers is so much greater. So that's why you might study this. So I'm going to introduce one aspect of this, which is seeing the world in loops. And I'll give you two examples. I attended a leadership class recently, and a senior leader at that class was presenting to Joe Hogan at that time, saying, we were debating as a team whether we win because we're cohesive or we're cohesive because we win. And Joe asked, well, which is it? And the leader said, we decided we win because we're cohesive. So this was a relatively common kind of dialogue, I guess. People see the world in linear cause and effect relationships. So either team success causes cohesion or cohesion causes team success. And that was the question, which is it? And I would ask, could it be both? Could success, and I write it as a feedback loop, could success cause cohesion? That the team, when they win, they get better as a team and more cohesive. And could a more cohesive team have a better chance of being successful? And then that feeds on itself in a positive, reinforcing feedback loop. And the answer is yes. So this is a snowball rolling downhill, which it's a reinforcing loop in this case, where the team gets more successful, more cohesive, more successful, more cohesive over time. Another example is I was at a leadership team meeting as well, and one of our sales leaders said, we are missing our numbers because new product introductions are late. And that is a true cause and effect, that late NPIs do cause us to miss our numbers. The product isn't out, we expected revenue on it, or a new release, we were supposed to be more competitive and get more market share, and it's late, so we're losing some deals, that sort of thing. So the question is, can you think of this one in a loop? Is there another relation where missing numbers could cause late NPIs? And the reality is, it can, over time. So you may miss numbers, and that may cause you to limit, us as an organization, to limit hiring or limit backfilling. And if that's the R&D team that needs those people on it, they may be even more late with their NPIs, which causes us to miss more numbers, which causes us to limit hiring even more and be even more late with NPIs. And this is kind of a slow, vicious cycle or a death spiral in this case. So it's reinforcing as well, but kind of in a negative direction. And I call this whole concept the end of finger pointing, because you'll never see the world in a simple cause and effect relationship anymore, where what somebody else did is causing you to have a particular problem. The world is more complex. The business system is more complex, and over time you'll be able to see a more complex interplay between all the pieces of your team or of your business than just a simple linear, short time frame cause and effect relationship. So that's it in terms of what I wanted to cover right now. System dynamics is a very exciting field. It will definitely increase your ability to think as a leader. You'll never see the world the same way once you really understand the complexity of the different pieces and how they all work together. So I hope this whets your appetite to learn more about system dynamics, and until next time, thanks.